This, my friends, is the GameCom. If you don't have a GameCom, then just continue not having a GameCom. The review of Solstice on the NES is now live. It's a puzzle RPG game that has some of the greatest 8-bit music that you'll ever hear. So go watch the Solstice review, and let's check the Wind Squid Pub for some Q&A. I have an important question asked by Big Bloomer, who says, Mark, my wife and I just had a baby boy. Congratulations! I hope you named him Lando. In fact, he asked a Star Wars question. He says, when it comes time, what order do we watch Star Wars? Do we go 4, 5, and 6 like we did back in the day, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6? He asks, am I a bad parent if I tell him that 1, 2, and 3 never existed? No, I think that's responsible parenting. The problem is that kids love Jar Jar, and Jar Jar is really what ruins all this. When they see Jar Jar, they love the big floppy ears and the stupid everything about Jar Jar sucks, but they love Jar Jar, and it'll break your heart as a parent when your kids would rather play with a Jar Jar figure than like the Snowspeeder. Like what do you do? Well, you can try to teach them the proper way to watch Star Wars, and I have some tools here. The Star Wars Encyclopedia, which was written before the release of Episode 1. There's no mention of Jar Jar anywhere in here. So you get good old school Star Wars and C-3PO and Darth Vader and things the way they're supposed to be. When you have Star Wars viewing time with the family, just make sure you don't have Episode 1, 2, or 3 anywhere around. You can go with Star Wars on Laserdisc. Here's the entire trilogy, the definitive collection. I think you need to teach your kids at an early age that bigger is better, especially when it comes to video, which is why Laserdisc is superior to all. Also, these are the original versions of Star Wars before they started tampering with them and adding things. Like the extreme wacky close-ups in Return of the Jedi. Boy, who doesn't just love those? So I'm just going to warn you, when you start getting the kids' books, the Star Wars kids' books, and there's a lot of them, some of them are really good, you just got to watch out for Jar Jar. Because you'll be teaching them the alphabet or something, and you'll get to J, and just make sure it's Jedi instead of Jar Jar, or else you can rip that page out and replace it with something else. This is definitely one of the biggest challenges facing modern parents today. You're not bad if you tell him that 1, 2, and 3 never existed, because you would lie to him about Santa Claus anyway. And who's more harmful, Jar Jar Binks or Santa Claus? Everyone loves Santa Claus. He brings presents. Jar Jar brings pain, misery, and sorrow. So, there you go. Pro tip, you can try old school Star Wars, but when buying the new Star Wars toys, just be careful which ones you're buying, because sometimes they can sneak Jar Jar in there, and your kid will be playing with Jar Jar before you know it, and you'll be like, no, stop playing with Jar Jar, he's horrible, and then just, make him disappear. Kids have a short attention span, they probably won't notice, like, oh look, it's an elephant. That's not irresponsible parenting, I'm sorry. It's totally acceptable.